Hello and welcome to the Biz Coach Show, hosted by my Biz Coaches and presented by the TLG Group. Our shows focus on giving entrepreneurs the edge they need to succeed. Let's meet our guest for today's episode. Our guest today is Lindsay Valentine, the owner of BlackBolt Collective, a full-funnel digital marketing and design agency. As an expert in graphic design, marketing, SEO, and so much more, Lindsay and her team help brands craft a premium web presence. They are on a mission to continuously push the envelope in creating breathtaking design, peak results, and ultimately legendary ROI for their clients. Learn more at blackboltcollective.com. Awesome. Well, Lindsay, it is so great to have you with us today. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you. I know we have a lot of great topics to cover today. We also have Eric. Eric, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, David.
Awesome. Fantastic. Always great to hang out with you, Eric. And we're excited you've joined us for this episode. Today, we're going to be talking about Where's Waldo? How to get online visibility for your professional service business. But before we dive into today's topics, Lindsay, I was hoping you could tell us a bit more about BlackBolt Collective.
Yeah, so BlackBolt Collective is a design and marketing agency. We specialize in web design and also marketing that supports small businesses in Arizona. Well, nationally, really. We do a lot of work with all sorts, and we'd be happy to hear from anybody who needs our help.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, as we get into kind of online branding, brand presence, marketing, for somebody that doesn't have marketing experience, that may sound kind of scary and a little bit like uncharted territory. So I think as we start with online visibility, what does that really mean?
Basically, online visibility is when you create your website or web presence, how easily do people find you online? And I remember when I was getting into marketing, I used to think that was a very simple thing. You post a website, you have a social media account, and people find you, but that it's really not that simple. There's a lot that goes into it.
If only, right? If it only was that easy, it'd be great.
Right.
So what are some of the things that maybe you do or that you might coach a small business owner on if they're trying to build that online visibility? What are some tactics they can utilize?
So we found 4 major tactics that people can utilize to be seen more easily online. One of those is Google My Business. If you have a Google My Business listing, guess what? Google likes that. And they'll help increase your visibility if you have that listing and engage in that listing, post deals, news, images, whatever helps a buyer make a decision towards your business. Google loves that. Another one is local citations. So making sure that your business is available on Yelp, on Angie's List, if that's applicable, throughout the web on different listing agencies so that there's some relevancy to your business. It's not just a website put up online. This owner is trying to get the word out that they exist in the internet space. Another one is search engine optimization. So, man, I say that and people's eyes glaze over and they're like, I have no idea what that means. It's basically practices that help Google find your content on your website or on your social media pages. So it's creating content in a certain way, creating tags in a certain way, which I could go into because I love it, but I won't because I don't want to overwhelm your audience. But it's a huge part in being found online is being able for those search engine robots to read your content in a way that makes sense to a robot, but also makes sense to your viewer. And it can be overwhelming, but it's so powerful. And then the final one is online collaboration. So you want to be able to work with other business owners and businesses, websites to work together to create content that other people would want to engage in. And so if you're working with someone that's in a similar industry as yours and you're creating content similar and working together, Google loves that. They love partnerships. They love all search engines. They love to see that you are serious about what you're doing.
Awesome. Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up. And one of the thoughts that came to mind, this is something Eric and I had talked about, and Eric, you may have some insight on this, is it's shocking how few businesses have a website to begin with, let alone get into online visibility. So I don't know if you have any thoughts there on do you really need a business? Can you function with just social media accounts? Like what's your take on that?
I, as a web designer, I say you need one no matter what, but I've seen businesses do fine without them, right? And so I've seen evidence contrary to my own belief system, but I don't think it hurts to have, especially if you have got great branding, great messaging, something that stands out from what other people are doing. It does not hurt to have an extra place for people to go to research you and find out more about what you're doing and offering, especially if you're passionate about what you do.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it says the person that has that awesome logo, BlackBolt Collective. I'm like, I look at that in the episode 22 with her name and everything, that logo. I'm just like, wow, that is awesome. I love that.
That's right. That's the power of great branding is you're like, wow, I want to get to know about this company more. This looks so cool. I want to be a part of what they're doing. It's incredibly powerful. And it's so easy for people to dismiss the value of that until you see a cool logo and you feel right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's great advice. And I'm thinking about somebody that's maybe watching this or listening to this, and they're like, hey, you know what? I've got my website. I've started to do like some SEO stuff. I got a couple of reviews coming in. So if they're maybe starting to get found online, that's kind of just the first step, right? So what else should business owners be thinking about?
So I try to think of it like a resume. You want to put all the information out there for people to consume that will help them build trust and want to hire you, right? So if you have reviews, you want to post reviews. However long you've been in business, whatever expertise, credentials, certifications you have, you want to make sure that's easily available for people to see. Anything that differentiates you in the industry, what are things that you do in your industry better or different than what most people do? Convenience, how easy is it to purchase from you? Is your website, is the navigation fluid? Is the, moving from information piece to information piece, is that easily done? All of these things add up, and then add, marketing promotions and offers on top of that. And you're creating this great big base of ways to make it easier and easier and easier for people to click confirm, to click opt in, to click buy from you.
Right. Yeah. And I want to step back for a second because David, that last question, I didn't get a chance to jump in there, but in regards to operating without a website, one of the concerns that I would immediately bring up to anybody who said they're having success and not using a website, if you're using anything that you don't own, i.e. social media in any way, format whatsoever, you no longer control that asset. So any database that you have outside of being able to pull it down and then add it somewhere, that's not an easy process if it's even possible in some platforms. So the reality is go ahead, please.
Not to mention that there's also a loss of data. A lot of times if you're uploading video content, image content, it'll be so compressed for them to store in their data servers that the value of them, even if you were to be able to download them, is compromised.
That's a great point too. Yeah. I look at it from a business consultant perspective. I look at it and say, hey, look, you don't own that database. You don't own that information. So any business that you're generating from that, good luck trying to sell that.
Oh,
if you 100%. Want to sell your business, right? Yeah. Because you can't control it. So, and if you listen to anybody that Cody Sanchez, Alex Hermosi, anybody like that, they're all telling you need to be creating your own database of clients. And the only way you can really, truly do that is through your own website where you capture that information.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Awesome. So as you were talking through some of those important considerations, I've got a perspective on this, but as you're talking about, kind of that convenient website, how critical is it to have a very mobile friendly website?
It really depends on your audience. Most people have at least 50% audience going to mobile. If 50% is a big percentage if you're talking about traffic. So it is really important to have your site mobile optimized.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. But
just keep it simple.
Better ask, just to make sure.
If I throw a piece in there, I have a client that is strictly B2B. They've been in business for 47 years. Their web presence is pretty much non-existent, and still the people, and I say non-existent, meaning they don't have e-commerce or anything like that. It's really just a placeholder for information. It's not ideal. It's not optimized in any way. And ironically, 76% of the traffic going to the website is on a mobile device, tablet or phone. So,
so much better, though.
What's that?
The experience can be so much better, though.
Yeah. Well, and it's like it's funny because as we're having that conversation, as you even mentioned that, and this is like I said, this is a really old business that has not, and I say old in the sense that it's been around for a long time. They've got a huge established database, and ironically, if you had told me that, there is no way I would have believed it.
Yeah.
And had I
But
not
think about this. Where I go from there is, if you did have excellent mobile optimization, if you did have an amazing consumer experience, guess what? You would have more traffic, you'd have more clients. And if we're talking about economics, more demand, or more demand, then you increase your prices and you're increasing your revenue. So
Right.
I think people easily say it's fine, it works the way it is, but they're leaving money on the table when they do that.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah. I was blown away when I saw that 76% of their traffic was on a mobile device. I would have never believed that would have been the case, because I look at their client base and I see their client base as somebody sitting at a desk processing, like purchasing orders, products and stuff like that. But what we don't think about is the other consumers that are looking at the website, matching price information or whatever, and they're on a mobile device because they're out doing mobile transactions. So it blew me away. And so I would say, I mean, it's a necessity with any business that I have that conversation with. I'm like, you have to be mobile optimized.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And I'll just throw in, and please update your sites every once in a while. I've seen some sites that like established in 1999 and never been updated. It's just,
that's part of SEO. If you're not updating your site, Google's not going to send you traffic, or there'll be less than clients.
Oh, there you go. See? Yeah.
Awesome. David, that was an inappropriate slight on me. I don't appreciate it.
Well, yours is at least more recent than 99. So you're doing okay. Awesome. So I guess just kind of while we're on the topic of, what works and what doesn't, one of the things that I am seeing more often is like a one-page site or a funnel site popping up, and you hear like whole social media ads on, you have to have a funnel, websites are dead. So I'd be curious, what's your perspective on funnels and how does that tie into your online strategy?
Well, I think funnels are essential to any marketing strategy for any business. I mean, you just think of it, marketing 101, you have people coming in at certain points and you want to get them down to the sale. Having a strategic funnel in place that will get people through that process step by step. And even you can cater it to different personality types, different consumer avatars. So you can really have the potential to customize it highly to make that consumer experience amazing. And then the tools out here today are unbelievable. So to not be doing that even in this landscape that we have today is, shooting yourself in the foot and your business in the foot. So I think that if you have a marketing funnel in place, you're ahead of the game for sure.
Okay, awesome. And as we talk about kind of that funnel, or maybe, for me, I think about kind of the customer journey through that. What are some important kind of elements of a funnel that you would recommend every small business have in place?
Well, personally, I mean, you could go a lot of routes. There's print campaigns, there's email campaigns, there's pay-per-click, there's all sorts of stuff that you can do for marketing. I still see a lot of value in email. There's a lot of ways to customize that information. There's a lot of ways to really make that experience feel special rather than just having an ad flashing in their face on their, desktop. I think, especially if you're in a professional services type of business, you really want your customers to feel like they're seen by you, that their dollar is important to you, and that you're invested in the outcome that they're trying to get from you. Awesome. So besides email, the ways to do that is through, they have a lot of automation systems that you can do. So you can bring people in, they opt in through an email. So by the way, if you're not collecting email addresses, do that today. Get people, if you have any audience whatsoever, start collecting emails today. That list, to speak to your point, Eric, earlier with social media, that is gold. That is part of your database that you want to be collecting from day one. And then just continue a conversation. It doesn't have to be a sales pitch. just say, hey, what's up? What's going on? Get to know some people really well that you'd like to serve and start building relationships with them. And guess what? You're going to be building up some referral marketing. And referral marketing, if from email marketing, is probably one of the most effective ways to market today. People want to hear what other people's experiences are. And if you can start those relationships early, even if it's only a couple people, it makes an enormous difference down the road.
Awesome. Love it. Well, I think just as I'm thinking about some of the stuff we've talked about, we may have people at varying understanding levels of marketing. And one of the things you mentioned, I want to circle back to, was social proof. So I'd be curious, can you expand on that just a little bit if somebody's kind of new to that concept, what that might look like on a website?
Absolutely. So social proof is basically evidence that someone, not the business owner, has had a good experience with the business. So a lot of time that's going to be Google reviews or Yelp. Those are the two places that people go to look into a company to make sure that they're legit people, that they're not going to get scammed, that they're going to get some value from their investment. And there's other things in addition to testimonials. There's things like BBB badges. There's things like Chamber of Commerce badges. There's things like even to a degree, credit card symbols, guarantees on whatever you need to do to make it easier for someone to commit to buying that proves that you're not going to scam them is something you want to be doing on your website visually.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah, very important. Well, we've talked about a couple mistakes that small business owners might make when it comes to their online presence. What are some of the most common mistakes that you see business owners make when they're establishing that online presence?
I see a lot of people not underestimate the value of a Google My Business post. I think people, it's like, it's just one more thing to fill out. It's something else that I need to do. And I think people just get overwhelmed because they're hearing you need to be on all 17 social media platforms. I don't think there's 17, but you know what I mean. And you need to be posting 500 times a day, and the content needs to be relevant and catchy, and you need to be lip syncing. Oh, also you need to make a Google My Business listing. And I think people are just like, that's the first thing to go off their list of wherever else they think they ought to be. Right. Yeah. And then also, I don't see a lot of people investing in creating, getting on those listings, those local listing sites. I think that is a really easy way to convey to those search engines that you're serious about business, that you want people to find you. So, getting on Yelp, getting on your Google My Business, and even like your Chamber of Commerce, even you just Google business listing site and you'll have a list of places that you could submit your business information so that the internet can find you in all the places that people are.
Awesome. What are some of the examples of other business listing sites?
Oh man, there's Yellow Pages, which is archaic. I mean, I just do that as a prerequisite because someone is looking on there. There's like, if you're a contractor, things like Angie's List. I mean, there's tons of them. There's tons of, even like social media is considered a local listing essentially because you're putting your business information out there. Also, you want to make sure that your information that you're putting on there is exactly the same as your Google My Business listing. And I mean, exactly. You want the address. If you put it E dot instead of East on your Google My Business post listing, then you want it to be that exact same across all of your platforms, or else Google will consider it a contradiction and be less inclined to point people that way. So you want to make sure that that's precise. That's called, so your name, your address, and your phone number, all of that you want that to be precise.
Interesting. And one of the ones we met on Alignable, I'm curious, is that one of those as well that you would?
Oh, absolutely. Well, especially if you're in professional services and you're B2B, getting on Alignable is, for me, it's been amazing. I've met some incredible people eager to work together and network. And I don't regret at all going on Alignable at all. It's been probably the number one source of at least networking for me.
Interesting. I have noticed that the marketing people on Alignable have done much better, at least in my experience, than, like, for instance, we have with business coaching.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's if you're B2B and you're in marketing, everybody on there is a potential client.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Everybody needs marketing.
Right.
Not everybody needs coaching.
Yeah. No,
even though they
everybody
could
needs
probably
coaching.
use it.
Everybody needs it. They're just not willing to accept it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, as you're talking about Google, that leads me to think about reviews, and I'd be curious, what's your take on, do you respond to negative reviews? Kind of what should a business owner be thinking about when it comes to managing reviews of their business?
Reviews are the lifeblood of your business. That is the sword that you will live and die by. And not everybody will have a great experience of your business, especially if you are an owner and you're putting your business in the hands of other people representing your ownership. You have to respond to those negative reviews, and you have to respond with some dignity and grace. And there's different ways to handle that. There's platforms out there to help with reputation management, but you don't want to return the same energy that you're getting from the reviewer, right? You want to really, let it sit, think of a response, and address it honestly or with some sort of humor. Basically, you want to use whatever language judo you possibly can so that people, still think positively of your business, even though someone had a bad experience.
Awesome.
Yeah. Great languaging there.
It's like the Matrix, right? Where he's like,
yeah,
bullets.
Exactly. Very cool.
Well, and I would add to that, one of the things that we recognize with business owners, similarly, right? They don't do a good job of tracking their reviews. So one, they don't do a good job of getting enough reviews, which is going to hamper you if you do get a few bad ones, which is to your point, nobody's going to be ever perfectly happy with your solutions, right? So eventually at some point you get a bad review. Even if it's not a bad review, it's not ideal, right? And the worst part is if you don't have enough reviews. If you have 10 reviews, you have 3 bad ones, 3 sub-5 reviews, you're going to be a 6 or a 7, right? I mean, it's just like, so it doesn't take much to pull that down when you don't have enough. So getting consistent reviews is really important, and having a strategy to do that is something we constantly remind our clients. You've got to make sure that you're there. And to your point earlier about Google and how powerful it is, that's the first thing that most people see, because 90% of people or 80% of the people use Google to do all their searches.
100%. I couldn't agree more with that. To be proactive with Google is one of the most important things you can do with your business, to be proactive getting reviews. And then make sure to funnel them in one place. It's so easy to want to direct some to Yelp, some to Google. I suggest getting as many to Google as you possibly can.
Good point.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, great tips, great advice. Any other advice for business owners that are looking to get found online?
I mean, if all of this sounds overwhelming, if you are hearing all this stuff and you're like, how am I going to do all this? I'd love to help. That would be my suggestion.
Awesome. Love it. Very good. Well, cool. Well, I think great topics for today. I captured a couple action items that I want to review with our viewers or listeners, and then would love to hear just a bit more about BlackBolt Collective and maybe some ways that people can reach out to you. But I think really the first thing that I caught was ensure your business is utilizing all available channels to maximize visibility. And you did a great job walking us through maybe some things that people aren't thinking about. Ensure that your site is set up to maximize visitor commitment. So funnels, right? Social proof, all those sorts of things. Make sure you're fine-tuning your marketing funnel to nurture long-term sales. So kind of email, and actually it was pretty eye-opening for me. I kind of think of email as going to the wayside, but sounds like it's alive and well. So we need to use that. So I think it was great. And then work with a specialist to dial in your website to meet your business goals. So just some great stuff for people to think about. So I guess bringing it back to you, Lindsay, what are some other ways that BlackBolt Collective can help small business owners?
Well, just to give you an idea of why we are in business, we're just passionate about people in business. If you care about what you're doing, if what you're doing is important to you and you're struggling, that's, web design and marketing is the method that we get in touch with people like you. And if you really care and you want some help, we'd love to be able to help you.
Awesome. Love it. Well, Eric, while we've got you on, I know My Biz Coaches always doing new and interesting things. So anything that you want to spotlight for our audience today?
No. Just a reminder about the event coming up in October. Still finalizing details on, but super excited about what that's going to look like. We've got a new structural layout, I guess, basically, for lack of a better term, on how we're going to handle that. Format. There we go. It's going to be a different format than what we did last time. So there's a lot of content, as always. We're going to load it up with as much content as we can possibly deliver. So I'm excited about that. And then we have, as I said, I can't really let the cat out of the bag, but we have some new announcements that are coming up here in the near future. So some new partnerships and relationships that we'll be announcing. I'm going to say 60 days to be safe. But super excited about some of these developments that are coming together and how that's going to play out. But that's pretty much for us right now.
Awesome. Well, if we learned anything today, make sure you put it on your website and send it out to your email list. So put that into practice for sure.
Yeah, and earlier is better, right?
Yes. There you go. Fantastic. Well, Lindsay, thanks for spending time with us, for sharing your insights. It's been great. We hope to have you back soon. And Eric, always great hanging out with you. Hope you guys have an awesome day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it.